A lot of stuff to get to, and let's start today, Bull, with some of the Browns' moves yesterday. They claimed a defensive back from the Chiefs. They let go of A.J. Green. They signed 3 new players to the practice squad, Alex Leatherwood, PJ Walker, and a kicker from Arizona whose first name is my last name, Lucas Haversick.
Oh, I didn't even realize they claimed a kicker off.
They did.
Somehow, not claimed, but signed one to a practice squad. I somehow missed that move. Don't they still have one spot open?
They do still have one spot open. They have those 3 I just named. They brought 12 guys back from the cuts who did not get claimed elsewhere.
Right.
Cade York was the only guy who had a chance and decided to sign elsewhere.
Right, he wanted
Anthony
to go somewhere else,
Schwartz
which I don't blame him. If you're Cade York, why would you want to stay here?
So where do you want to start?
You just got cut. Doesn't make any sense. Well, to me, first of all, you mentioned to me before the show that the kid they claimed from the Chiefs, what's his name? The DB? Can't pronounce his name.
Khalef Helassi is, I believe, how you pronounce it.
That's why I write and don't talk.
He's more of a man corner as opposed to A.J. Green, who's more of a zone corner. And so that's why the Browns were interested in replacing A.J. Green, because the Browns are going to run a lot more man this year.
Shout out to Tyvis. Tyvis had this right, but we talked about it. We were like, if they have to pick somebody up, who is it going to be? A.J. Green? And he was, A.J. Green, he didn't play very well. It looked like he was injured a little bit. So Tyvis called this one out yesterday.
I do think the PJ Walker move also, Jason, is interesting because even though DTR is the backup quarterback, and not that I'm thinking of anything special with PJ Walker, but at least he's a guy who's played in the league a little bit.
Yeah, he's an upgrade over Kellen Mond, right?
Yeah,
I think that's what you're going for there. Obviously, you're carrying a rookie as your backup quarterback.
Yeah.
PJ's got a little bit more experience, so if something does happen to Deshaun where he goes down, you do have someone, a veteran who knows the league a little bit. Obviously, DTR would step in as the starter at that point.
Right.
But then, I don't know if you want 2 really young green guys back there.
Right.
If this works the way they think and DTR is the backup for the future, you don't really need another really young, inexperienced quarterback. So it makes sense. I understand why they do it. I don't know if PJ Walker's any good, necessarily. If you're looking for him to save your season, you're probably sunk. But I understand why you'd make that move. And Kellen Mond should have known the first time he got released. Yeah. His time here is probably going to be brief.
Yeah, as far as I've seen, I haven't really looked this morning. I don't think anybody else has picked up Mond, right?
Has not been picked up.
Yeah. A couple of other notes that are interesting. Alex Leatherwood was a first-round pick.
Yeah.
Now, he was a total bust. It wasn't even like, one good year, one bad. No, he's had no good years.
He's been an abomination.
He's been horrible.
As bad as you could be.
However, I'll say this. Again, it's a long shot. Nobody's expecting him to do anything. You got probably the best O-line coach in the league. Now, that hasn't helped Jedrick Wills that much. And this is a practice squad edition, so there's zero risk. Obviously, there's some potential upside with this guy. He was drafted in the first round. You'd think there'd be it. So, it seems like an interesting move. It'll probably never matter.
But bring him in and kick the tires.
Yeah, what?
See if there's anything
Let Bill Callahan take a look at him and see if there's anything that can be done with him.
Is there any way we can sign him to a lifetime deal? Can we just be like, look, even if Stefanski gets fired, Bill Callahan
I would think so.
is the offensive line coach for the rest of the time until he's dead.
Bill Callahan's old enough at this point. He's probably not looking for another head coaching job.
No.
I don't see any reason why they probably pay him well for a position coach. I don't see any reason why he wouldn't just stay here to the rest of his career, I would think, But who knows?
It depends. It depends on the head coach, depends on those relationships. The head coach may have somebody he likes and want. You just never know.
One thing I would say, though, is his son is the Bengals OC. And you wonder if his son eventually gets a head coaching job, would he go with him?
Sure, yeah.
Go ahead,
2
Mike.
things real quick on Leatherwood. When Jed Wills was at Alabama playing right tackle, do you know who the Crimson Tide's left tackle was?
Leatherwood.
Alex Leatherwood.
Isn't it interesting that those great Alabama that both tackles from that team are? Jedrick Wills, I'm not going to say is a bust.
I'm telling you,
he's not been very
and
good.
Speaking of Jed Wills, real quick, the Browns also restructured his contract this morning to save about $1.5 million.
Yeah, they've
just want to mention
restructured now
that.
like
Not a
5
big
contracts
deal,
here.
Just want to mention it.
Go ahead. You want to defend Jed Wills?
I think we're piling on a little bit onto Jed Wills. I don't think he's as bad as what we've made him out to be. He's not elite, but the way that he gets talked about here, it's like he's a bust and a terrible player. And
Jason,
I don't
he was
think that's the
drafted
case.
in the first round. He's been a subpar player. He's not
average.
awful.
He's average.
Is he, though?
Yes, I think he's average.
But what are we basing that on?
I mean, he's not getting guys killed. He's not getting guys killed.
I don't
He's
know,
not. I don't think. I don't think
to
he's.
me-
I don't
to-
think he's as bad.
To me, he's a below. Like he's below average to average. Now, if he would pick up his effort, he would be fine. It's just them plays where he just don't.
That's what's infuriating.
That's what gets
It's
you a
those
little
3
bit.
or 4 plays where you're like, what is he doing? He's not even moving, and that's what infuriates you.
And that's what kind of.
And I think that's what stains the view of him,
Yeah.
or alters the view of him. Ultimately, I don't think he's nearly as bad as we make him out to be. I think
You
he's
want
an
to sign him
average
to a
left
big
tackle.
extension?
It depends on what else is out there.
Yeah.
It's such a hard position to fill. I think he's average. It's not his fault he was picked where he was. Like, you expect more out of him for sure.
Yeah.
But it's not what he is. I think he's an average left tackle. You can do a lot worse. You can have a lot worse over there than what they have.
I don't know.
I'd wager that I could get me. I want to play like next year. I'm working DeJuan Jones out the whole year. Like, listen, you're gonna be working left tackle. Because here's the thing: if you're gonna pay him, he's gonna be a free agent. What type of money is he gonna be commanding? That's a left tackle. That's a premium position, and he's a first round pick. So, like, are you gonna give him 19, 20 million a year?
I don't see how you can. Plus, you're spending a lot of money on both guard spots and right tackle right now.
So you would probably have to move one of the guards to sign Jedrick Wills, and I just don't think.
Yeah, well, we'll see. That's another story for another day. We'll get to that later. Anything else? One note, I believe Jedrick Felton is going to sign with the Bengals practice squad today. You wonder if the Bengals, if they're just doing that for intel. I don't know if teams really do that.
They don't care about the Browns.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
They don't. No.
Even if they knew what they were running, like stop it.
And the Bengals kept 4 running backs on their active roster, so he'd be their
fifth.
Right? I don't think they have.
But
any
it's
other.
the return game, I think, that is appealing to teams. The fact that he can return.
And he can play a little
maybe.
receiver, and he can catch the ball.
Yeah,
He's versatile. He just doesn't.
I can't imagine he's ever getting on the active roster, unless they have a lot of injuries.
Yeah.
But I guess you never know. Go ahead, Mike.
2 things on the practice squad I want to ask you about, then we can move on because we have some other pressing topics to get to. First and foremost, we talked a little bit about it yesterday, both towards the end of the show, but Jason wasn't here and G didn't get a chance to chime in. But 12 players they brought back, Cleveland brought back, went unclaimed by their teams. No waiver wire requests for Austin Watkins, among others. Are you surprised none of the guys got picked up?
No.
Well, Bull predicted it.
I said nobody would claim Austin Watkins, and I said that nobody would claim Cade York, and they didn't. There weren't that many players claimed.
23 in total.
That's not a lot. I mean, how many players were on waivers? 500?
Yeah.
Yeah, like 40 times
Probably
32. Yeah.
Not some of them are veterans, so they don't go on waivers, but hundreds and hundreds of players and only 20. So there were 2 guys. One guy got claimed by 4 teams, and one guy got claimed by 3 teams. I never heard of either guy. But no, I don't like Austin Watkins. If he were a rookie and he did what he did in preseason, maybe there would have been some more interest. But he's been around the league a while.
They signed him like 45 minutes before their first practice. He was available for everybody.
I know. I just don't think. Yeah, and the rest of the guys, I didn't think Cade York was ultimately going to get claimed, which he didn't, because after how he played the back half last year and all the problems he had this season, I didn't think any team wanted to start the season with him as a kicker. Now, obviously, I thought teams would be interested for him in the practice squad because there remains potential. And I'm not surprised that Cade York went somewhere else. If I were Cade York, I would have gone somewhere else too.
And you listen, Hopkins said, look, this is one of the most toughest places to kick. He said, this place is, like, let's be clear, this is not an easy place to kick. And no kicker, I think, would choose, if you say, hey, where do you want to go kick at? I don't think they're beating down the doors.
No way.
So he's like, listen, I thought that was telling because he kind of gave Cade York a little bit of a nod, like, hey, bro, I kind of know what you're up against. And I'm not going to come in here and act like this is going to be easy.
September 24th, Tennessee at Cleveland. Is Cade York the Titans kicker?
Who is the
Titans?
September
just
24th.
traded for Nick Folk. Just traded for Nick Folk 2 days ago.
This is an open competition.
So it's, I mean.
It's an open competition.
If Nick Folk is the kicker now,
Cade York easily could be the Titans
But
kicker
if
by
Nick
September
Folk
24th.
sucks, then Cade York's going to get a shot.
Back in Cleveland on September 24th.
All it takes is him to hit a
Lining up for a game winner in Cleveland on September 24th.
All it takes is Cade York to be lining up for, he kick a 62, 63-yard field goal in practice, and they go right down the middle.
They'll be coronaries all over
They're going to be like, oh, my goodness.
Can you imagine him going down the dog pound doing the chomp?
Oh,
like he did
you know
in
he
Florida?
will. He's a talk crap type of guy.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. Yes, Mike.
One last thing I want to point out.
Yeah.
And then we'll move on to Joe Burrow and the Week 1 game for the Browns. But there's only 16 practice squad spots. Not many teams
That's quite a few.
Yeah, you
have 2 kickers. The fact that the Browns added a kicker to their practice squad, and I'm just asking, I'm not saying I even think this. Think they have some doubts about Dustin Hopkins?
Of course you do.
Yeah.
How could you not?
He has lost his job twice in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
Of course. He did.
And it's Cleveland. Like,
Yeah.
he may get out here and lose all his confidence week 1.
Honestly, though, I think it's a waste to have a kicker on the practice squad.
Well, and
because,
that's why I asked, because it is
because you could just pick
bit
a
of a
guy
waste
up
of time.
anyway.
No, I want him at the stadium kicking.
Yeah, it is a young guy, I guess. Where did this guy come from?
he played at Arizona.
I don't know. I still don't understand why Robbie Gould is not on the team, but there must be something there that we don't know about. I don't know what the hell's happening.
I like that.
Maybe Jay could ask him. Apparently, Jay and him are boys.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Jay never told us how they.
Never.
Yeah, I meant to ask.
And
I
he knows
forgot.
Feely too, don't he?
He knows everybody. Jay knows
He worked with
everybody.
Feely and covered Feely in Tampa, but
Yeah.
I don't think he was ever in Chicago or San Francisco when Jay Feely was there.
You know, Jay. He met him at one of them dinner circuits. Jay got.
Yeah.
He be
He's
doing
hobnobbing with
fundraisers.
fancy people, you know.
He got black tie event in
The
Wichita.
kicker the Browns signed, by the way, Lucas Harvisic,
Yeah.
according to ESPN, has never kicked a real field goal in the NFL.
Okay, well, get at the stadium, start kicking.
There you
Well,
go,
that's why
maybe-
you had him in the practice squad.
Maybe
so you
he'll
get
be
him
the
in
next
building.
great kicker. Who knows?
Yeah.
All right, Mike, let's switch things up here. Well, you got a read to do?
I do have a read to do,
Yeah.
and then we will talk about Bulls' #1 love, Joe Burrow. If you have